Okay, so to begin the DIY, I already went ahead and I painted 7 of the 8 pumpkins. I have 1 left to paint. And for that, I used the acrylic paint in white from the Dollar Tree. I also just used a paintbrush. This one I purchased it at Dollarama. However, Dollar Tree sells paintbrushes as well, so you can pick one up there if you choose. Then I painted the pumpkin, and I painted some areas a little bit thinner and then some a little bit heavier, just because I wanted some of the orange to come through the white. Now, if you want, you can leave your pumpkin at this stage. I, however, am going to add a little bit more paint onto it in a pattern design. And the way that I do that is I have an old pair of pantyhose or tights. Okay, so they are this really pretty lace pattern. And I just cut the pantyhose up. Now, in one pair of pantyhose, I usually cut it into 4 sections. Then I just take my pumpkin and I put it inside of the pantyhose like this. Then I just clip the top and the bottom, and what I use for that is just a couple of hair clips that I had that some of the claw had broken off, but it still works for this. And then I just clip them on both ends. Now, when I go to paint this, I just take a metal can and I put the pumpkin in there like that. Then I'll just spray paint it, and I will be using a black gloss. It's a paint and primer. And once I've spray painted the pumpkin, then I just take the top here and the bottom, and then I just turn it over, place it back into the can, and then just finish off the other end. So as I said, if you prefer, you can just leave the pumpkin as it is with the acrylic paint, but I'm going to go ahead and first finish painting this pumpkin and then spray paint the other pumpkins, and once I have completed that, we will move on to the next step. I thought I'd show you unwrapping the pumpkin from the tights or pantyhose, how it looks. It's so neat when you unwrap it, because really all of them come out differently, but it's such a neat effect to do for these pumpkins. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the clips off. And here is the pumpkin. How cool is that? I absolutely love doing this to the pumpkins because it actually looks like there is lace over top of the pumpkin. Okay, so now I want to make an opening on the tops of all the pumpkins. And to do that, I'm going to take a large tuna can, my pencil. I'm going to place the tuna can on the top of the pumpkin and then just outline around the can with my pencil. Then I will take my utility knife and I will cut that out, so then my pumpkin will look like this. And you're going to want to do this with all 8 of your pumpkins. I have completed carving my pumpkins, just the tops here. Now, as you can see, there is a toothpick, and that you could just go ahead and snap that off or cut it with a pair of scissors. Now, I want to cover up this styrofoam. I don't want to leave it looking like this. So what I will be doing is I will be taking my jute twine, and this is the 3-pack from the Dollar Tree where you get the 2 in the brown and the 1 in the green. And I'm just going to hot glue the jute twine all around the bottom of this, so around the edge and then this flat part, and as well the rim on the inside of the bottom of the pumpkin. Now I already went ahead and finished one for you so you can see it. So as you can see, I've just covered all that up. It just makes it look more finished, a lot nicer. And then I use the green jute twine to cover the stem. And it just looks a lot nicer finished in this way. So I'm going to go ahead and finish gluing on the jute twine, and that again is with my hot glue, to the other 7 pumpkins, and then I will move on to the next step. Okay, so I have finished gluing all of the jute twine to the pumpkins. Now I have just taken the tops and I have just placed them to the side over here. And I took the main pumpkin and I turned them over upside down, and then I just placed them in a circle to form a circle. So what I will be doing is I will be taking my pizza pan or pizza tray, and I am going to be turning this upside down as well. This is the front. I'll just be flipping it over, and I will be gluing the pumpkins to the pizza pan or pizza tray. Now before I do this, I do want to paint the front of the pizza tray with this Chalk It Up chalkboard paint that I purchased from the Dollar Tree. Now you could just leave it as it is and then purchase the wall stickers from the Dollar Tree. They are from Main Street Wall Creations, and those work great on here as well. But I really wanted a chalkboard look to the inside of this pumpkin wreath, so that is what I'll be doing. I'm just going to put about 2 to 3 coats of the chalkboard paint on this, and once it is dry, I will flip it over and glue it to the bottoms of the pumpkins. Okay, so now my tray has pretty much dried. I gave 3 coats to the inside of the tray. Now I'm just going to make sure that my pumpkins are in a nice circle. Then I'm going to take my tray, I'm going to turn it upside down, and I'm going to place it on the pumpkins. Now as you can see, there's maybe about a quarter of the pumpkin that is actually going to be covering the tray. So I just place the tray in the center. And then once I have my tray on the pumpkins, I'm just going to take a Sharpie marker and I'm just going to mark where the tray finishes and the pumpkin begins. This way that acts as my guide, so that when I go to glue my tray onto my pumpkins, I'm not fidgeting around with it so much, especially with using the hot glue. The styrofoam is going to adhere to the tray very quickly. So I really want to know where I'm placing my tray, set it down and leave it. Now I also went ahead and on the inside of the lip of the pizza tray, I also made a little arrow, a little mark, just in front of that line where I marked the pumpkin. Because I do want to add some E6000 glue to this, but because there are some gaps where the pumpkins meet, I don't want to add the E6000 glue to the complete rim of the pizza tray. So I'm just going to add some dabs of glue just right where the pumpkins touch the tray. And so I just add that little arrow to give me again another guide where I can place some glue. This way when I go to turn the tray over, I can place it down and I pretty much know that it's going to look good that way. The hot glue will adhere the pumpkins to the tray very quickly, and then over time that E6000 glue is going to give a really strong bond. Okay, so now my pumpkins are glued on to the tray and they seem to be in place. However, there is a gap in between the pumpkins. Since I didn't glue the pumpkins together, I could have done that first and then glued it on the tray, but I really wanted to make sure that my pumpkins were going to look good on the tray, and I just figured it was best to glue the tray onto the pumpkins and then glue in between the pumpkins for some extra strength, extra durability to this piece. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn it back over, and in between the pumpkins where there's some gaps, I'm just going to take my hot glue and I'm just going to add some glue in between so that it adheres the two pumpkins together. So not only are the pumpkins glued on the tray, but they're also glued to. Okay, so just to add a little bit more of strength and durability to this pumpkin wreath, whenever I make any DIY or decor piece, I really want to make sure that it is adhered really strong. I don't want it moving around or coming apart. So the last thing that I'm going to do to make sure that this stays intact as best as possible is I took some felt, and at our Dollar Trees here in Canada, you get 2 pieces of felt for $1.25. I took 1 piece, I cut that in half to make the 8 strips that you see here. Now I'll take my E6000 glue as well as my hot glue. I will apply it to one side, and then I will place half on the tray and half on the pumpkin. And I will continue to do that until all the felt pieces have been glued down. Okay, so I have all my felt pieces glued down. Now I want to add a hanger to the back of this so that the wreath can be hung. To do this, I just took my jute twine. I made 3 equal lengths, or I cut 3 equal lengths, tied a knot, braided the rope, tied a knot at the other end, and that is my jute twine braided rope. Now I made a very small one because I want this to be glued just in that lip of the tray, not on the very back of the tray. And you'll see later on why that is. So I'm just going to take my E6000 glue as well as my hot glue and glue that down. Okay, so I have glued on my jute twine rope to the back of the pizza tray. Now I also had a couple little pieces of extra felt, so I just covered the ends of that jute twine rope just to give it a more finished and polished look on the back. Now I'm going to turn the wreath over, and you'll notice that on the sides of the pumpkins I went ahead and I attached that top half of the pumpkin that I carved out. And I just took my E6000 glue, my hot glue, and applied it to the jute twine here, and then just pressed it on the pumpkin, held it in place enough for that hot glue to dry. And I have completed 6 of them. I have 2 more to do, so I will go ahead and glue those on and the pumpkin wreath will be complete. Now in my list of supplies, I had shown a bag of Excelsior from the Dollar Tree, as well as some LED tea light candles. Now that is what I will be using to decorate my pumpkin wreath, and I'm gonna go ahead and do that off camera so that I can show you the final reveal all at once, which I'm really excited to show you. I will also show you a couple other options with this wreath, and the one at the very end is a really neat option to use with this wreath. So again, I will go ahead, glue my last 2 tops to my pumpkins, and then I will show you the final reveal. Okay everyone, so here is the Dollar Tree pumpkin wreath, and I think it turned out adorable. It really is a nice option if you're not so into the fall colors, the oranges and reds and yellows. It's something a little bit more neutral, but the really neat thing about this is that at night, and I can't really pick it up on camera unfortunately, but at night when it is dark and the candles are lit inside, the orange from the pumpkin actually comes through, so you do see the orange, which gives it a nice little bit of color but not too much, and it really warms up the room, which is a nice effect. So here I added the LED tea light candles with the Excelsior inside, just to give it the look of some hay in there. But now I'm gonna go ahead and switch this out to show you another option. Okay, so here now I took out 4 of the LED candles and I replaced the inside of the pumpkins with some more pumpkins, just some miniature ones that I found at the Dollar Tree. And I also added a few leaves from the Dollar Tree as well. These were the ones that came with the 50 count. And this way it just adds a little bit more of a pop of color if you do like the oranges and reds and yellows. And it's adding a bit, and yet it still is not too much. And I think this is a really nice option as well. What I had originally planned on doing was I had bought the salt and pepper shakers, the squirrels, owls, and pumpkins, and I was planning on putting those in here with the LED copper string lights, because I thought that would just look adorable with the little critters in there, but I somehow misplaced them and don't know where they are, so I hope to come across them. But for the video I just substituted those with these little pumpkins, and I think it looks really cute. So now the last thing I'm going to show you is another way that you can use this wreath, but not as a wreath. And I will show you now what I mean. Okay everyone, so here is the second option in using this pumpkin wreath, but not as a pumpkin wreath, instead as a candy bar. So here I have just placed it flat on top of a Lazy Susan. I purchased these cellophane treat bags from the Dollar Tree. I chose the candy corn because against the black and white, I think it adds that pop of color, which is great for the fall. And I just added my candy inside, but this would also be great for any type of nuts or dried fruit. Whatever you can fit into those pumpkins, I think it's just a really neat and different way to display whatever you have in there. And I absolutely love how this has turned out. Well, that'll do it for this video, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed this. If you did, please like and share and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And as always, take care, and I so hope to catch you in my next video. Bye-bye.